Hello, hello, and welcome to BSB Must Reads, where we share with you all the books we think you must be reading this month. And I have with me here Tagan Shepard. Hi, Tagan.
Hey there.
So you are reading for us today from your newest release, Almost Perfect.
Right, yes.
I have a question for you about the title later.
Ooh.
Almost Perfect.
All right.
Perfect, not quite there, perfect, almost.
I like that teaser. That way I'll have time to think about why I picked that title.
That's good. That's good. Well, we're going to keep you busy. So,
all right.
I would love for you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself if they haven't met you yet.
Sure, absolutely.
And then tell us a little bit about Almost Perfect. And please start your reading whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. I'm Tagan Shepard. I use she, her pronouns. I have 7 books, women loving women fiction. Almost Perfect is my 8th and my first with bold strokes, which makes me really happy. What else about me? I'm into history. I'm a history buff. Video games are kind of my jam. And I live outside DC with my wife and my 2 cats, and they might make an appearance here at some point. You never know if they wake up. Almost Perfect is a contemporary romance. It's Riley, who is a queer entertainment blogger and reporter, and she has kind of a secret. The big lesbian show at the time is Midtown Avengers, and she actually hates the show, but she has to write about it because, you know, job and lots of clicks for those stories. And then there is Olivia, who is a fan artist and a Midtown Avengers super fan. And they meet at QueerCon, which is a queer entertainment convention. It's kind of a little meet cute situation. And then Olivia's star kind of rises when she gives one of the actors some of her fan art. They have to kind of navigate all of that. So my reading is actually from the moment that they meet at QueerCon. So here we go. Leaning against the wall next to the coffee bar, Olivia could just see through the crowd to where her sister waited patiently in line. So she settled back and pulled out her phone. While she sipped her water, she scrolled through her newsfeed, stopping on every picture of QueerCon that came up. All the bright, shiny displays here, and you're looking at your phone? The voice was deliciously husky and came with a teasing edge of flirting. The woman standing in front of her, a half smile lifting the left side of her face, was possibly the most alluring person Olivia had ever seen. Her blonde hair was so short on the sides, Olivia could see the change from richly tanned temples to the pale white beneath, and the rest was pulled into a tidy quiff. The style lengthened her face, accentuating her tall forehead and her rounded jaw. Her cheeks and the point of her nose were round as well, bordered by deep smile lines and the shallow dimple on one side. It was a perfectly androgynous face, just the type Olivia preferred. Her handsome face wasn't what caught her attention, though. The feature that made her nearly choke on her drink were the woman's eyes. They were deep, vivid blue that looked like they went on forever. They sparkled with the hint of laughter, but there was a rigidity to them that begged Olivia to meet this woman and know her from the inside out and back again. They were also very familiar eyes. After a long moment, the blonde's smile deepened. Is there someone cool behind me? Oh God, is there mustard on my chin? No, it's just, you're Riley St. James. I've heard of her, Riley said. Never seen her in the wild, though. You can't miss her, Olivia said, warming to the banter. She's blonde, perfectly tan, skinny jeans, a pale blue shirt that really sets off her eyes. Huh, I have a shirt like that, and those pants. Then I have a secret to tell you. Olivia leaned close enough to hear Riley swallow hard. Riley St. James got into your pants. Riley gave a chuckle that sent Olivia's heart rate up 20 points. I have a secret too. I don't think I can keep this going. I'm really bad at this flirting thing. Spoiler alert, you're really not, Olivia said. A moment stretched between them, and Olivia held perfectly still, afraid to blink and break the spell. It had been years since she met anyone who made her mouth water like this. She wanted to hold on to the feeling as long as she could. She held out her hand. Olivia Duran, I'm a really big fan. I read everything you write. Not my diary, I hope. Riley shook her hand. Her palm was soft, her shake firm. Do people even keep diaries anymore? My therapist says journaling is a very useful tool. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm such a jerk. I didn't mean that. I'm teasing, Riley said. I mean, yes, my therapist said that, but I'm not offended. The laughter and the glint in Riley's eyes didn't keep the creeping flush of embarrassment from Olivia's cheeks. I shouldn't have said that. It was really stupid. It's okay, Olivia. But if you really want to make up for it, you could let me buy you a drink at the opening night party. There was a hopeful, almost pleading lilt to the question that seemed so at odds with Riley's confidence. Olivia was desperate to say yes, but she knew she couldn't. I'm not going to the party. I have to have my little sister and her bestie home by 6. That's too bad. There's plenty of time for me to buy you lunch, though. Are you? Never mind. Riley looked up. The pleading had reached her eyes. What? Olivia considered playing coy, but it didn't matter either way, so she decided to tell the truth. I thought for a minute you were asking me on a date, but you're so far out of my league, the wave rider couldn't even help. Truth had definitely been the right choice because Riley's entire aspect changed. She leaned in, resting her forearm against the wall beside Olivia's shoulder and said, does Captain Lance know you stole her ship? Because I am asking you on a date. Just as Olivia opened her lips to say yes, a cannonball slammed into her. Oh my gosh, Liv, Chelsea squealed. You should have seen it. They have posters and they're giving them away for free. Chelsea's face was so animated, Olivia couldn't help forgive her terrible timing. She caught Riley's eye as Chelsea and Lewis prattled on about everything they'd seen and done and heard at the Midtown Avengers booth. As you can see, I have 2 lunch dates already. Chelsea, her story spent and her excitement returning to its normal 12-year-old level, turned to stare at Riley. She's that blogger you think is hot. Olivia grabbed Chelsea's shoulder tight enough to earn a squeak of displeasure. She's not a blogger, she's a journalist. Actually, I'm both. Riley held out her hand. Chelsea Duran Spencer. Chelsea shook the offered hand. This is Lewis, my best friend. Lewis shrugged after shaking Riley's hand. Never heard of you. Okay, Olivia said. I'll just get these 2 out of here before they really embarrass me. She turned, following her sister, who was hopping off toward the snack bar. She'd forced herself not to look back, not to see Riley's relief for the bullet she'd dodged. Before she could take a full step, the soft palm touched her bare forearm, making the whole right side of her body tingle. What about tomorrow? Riley asked. Have lunch with me tomorrow? Not trusting her ability to speak in coherent sentences, Olivia applied her widest smile and nodded. Riley's response was equally nonverbal, just a puff of laughter that sounded like she'd been holding her breath. At an insistent call from Chelsea, Olivia finally tore her eyes away from Riley and headed back into the crowd.
Ah, what a cute meet cute.
Right? I love a good meet cute.
I love the ones that are like awkward and bumbling and more true to life, you know?
Exactly. It's probably because I'm super awkward. I love it when one person just can't quite get their feet under them.
And I love when it's, interrupted by little sisters, which are
exactly
also the best, but mostly the worst.
Right.
So why don't you tell us about this title, since I've introed that. What does it mean and why almost perfect and not perfectly perfect?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so I'm really terrible at titles, but this one actually was kind of easy because what I wanted to show with this is that we're always trying to be perfect in relationships, right? Like you're always looking for that perfect relationship. And that is always a recipe for disaster. That's the perfect way to mess it up, is to try and be perfect. So I think that the best that any of us should go for, right, is to be almost perfect, like just almost quite there, because we all have work to do. So
I like that. Okay, so as your reading suggested, your book is initially set at a fandom convention, QueerCon. And TV in general plays a really important role in your book. Can you tell us a bit about why it's important to your characters?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of an interesting situation for Riley and Olivia's generation. They're in their late 30s. So they are in this place where, I'm in my 40s. So when I grew up, there was like nothing on TV. It was all, it was Xena, is she, isn't she? We all know, whatever. But then you start to see more and more representation, and that tends to make us all feel so much better. And like embracing that has always been really fun for me. I mean, you can see behind me, right? I've got all of my lesbian fan art on the wall. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of celebrate that, celebrate all of the wonderful fandoms in our queer space. Things like Fight for Winona and Save One Day at a Time. There's been a lot of them actually. There's Save First Kill now and Save Batwoman. Rip, I love Batwoman. Yeah, just I think that it's wonderful to see how our community is kind of rallying around this representation, and I wanted to kind of celebrate that.
Awesome. It sounds like you yourself have embraced it too. Did you draw from your own experiences going to cons?
I haven't actually been to a con. I was supposed to go to my first one in 2020. Obviously, that didn't work out. So I'm still waiting, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to go to some in the future.
Awesome. Well, I hope to see another book set there because, research, of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if readers could walk away with one feeling or one message after reading your book, what would you want it to be?
I think the most important one for me is that you can screw up and still be a good partner and a good, and find that love, right? Because I think that part of relationships are growing together. And that's a lot of what Almost Perfect is about, is these two characters growing together and finding how to be a little closer to perfect with each other.
Excellent. I love that. If you're interested in reading Almost Perfect, please do check it out on the Bold Strokes Books web store, out November 1st and November 15th, everywhere books are sold. Thank you so much, Tagan.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandy.